Welcome back. I'm visiting here today with Justin Betteridge. He's a co-founder at Solvvy. Welcome to today's show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, for the listeners, Justin, can you give the background of how you got to where you are today? And
Yeah, sure. I started my undergraduate studies at Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah, and I was studying computer science. And I took a break from my studies to go serve a mission as a missionary for my church. And I was assigned to serve in Mongolia. And I had to learn Mongolian. Was there for almost 2 years. And while there, we also part of our service was to teach English to young folks there. And I learned from that. After I came back, I realized having to learn that language and teach English that I really love language. And so I started studying linguistics in addition to computer science. And I found the field of natural language processing, which is kind of a subfield of computer science, also called NLP. And it involves anything to do with computers and human language. So search engines, machine translation, question answering, and and I really, really enjoy trying to make computers really understand our language to make all of our lives easier and more convenient. And so I went to pursue graduate studies at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. And as a master's student there, I was working on a question answering project. And then was later also working with Tom Mitchell, who's a pioneer in the field of machine learning, and a research project we were working on called Never Ending Language Learner, which tries to kind of extract general knowledge from the web by kind of reading it 24/7. And that it was a fun project. Got a little bit of publicity in the New York Times. And then while I was there, a colleague of mine, a fellow student named Mehdi Samadi, he proposed that we start a company together. So before finishing my PhD degree, we actually moved out here to the Bay Area and started that company. And here we are. And our vision is to really transform the way companies interact with their customers using artificial intelligence.
as this world becomes smaller because of the computers and the forms of communications, uh, have you begun application of the of Solvvy into the customer relations experience?
Companies have been interacting with customers for a long, long time, and sometimes that interaction can be painful, not just for the consumer, but also for the company, because a lot of times people just want an answer to a problem they have with a product or a service, and and a lot of times the answer is posted online and are in knowledge-based articles from the company, but sometimes the consumer can't find their answer or doesn't have time to go searching for it, so they just call or email customer support. And then the customer support agents have to answer the same basic questions over and over again. It makes them feel like a robot. So artificial intelligence is nice because it can help automate those easier questions and honestly make the whole situation experience better for everyone involved. The customer gets their answer right away. Agents don't have to answer the same simple questions. They can focus on the more interesting ones. Companies can save lots of money.
Yeah, when this product is being rolled out, who are your primary customers to begin with? Are they large customer service centers, or in the
Yes.
U.S., or is it international?
So we have a number of different customers: Upwork, Evite, Under Armour, um, Peloton. There's many brands that you would probably recognize. Some of them are Silicon Valley tech companies. A lot of times it's right now the early adopters of kind of newer technologies. But some of our customers already have a global presence, but we're not necessarily selling internationally right now. But yeah, that's we're focused on English right now, but we'll definitely branch out to other languages in the near future.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with machine learning and the artificial intelligence, and also the way that companies like yours are taking down language barriers. Uh, Justin, I need to take a quick break, and when we get back, I want to jump more into how the startup of Solvvy came about as a company, and really where you see the vision.
Great.
We'll be right back after these messages. Since you can't take your wealth with you, spend time with your family. Welcome back. I'm visiting here today with Justin Betteridge, and he's a co-founder of Solvvy, which is focused in the communication, artificial intelligence, and machine learning language. And Justin, the first segment we talked about how you fell into this area, combining a linguistics degree with computer science and going on for a PhD at Carnegie Mellon, which is still in process.
That's right.
Uh, but where are you at in the company? Have you gone for funding, or where exactly are you at in the
Yeah, yeah.
life cycle?
We just raised our Series A round of $12 million, which brings our total to 16 million from Scale Ventures and True Ventures and Pair Ventures, and we're really grateful to our investors who believe in our vision of transforming the customer service space with artificial intelligence.
Well, when you arrived at taking investor money, then obviously you're get to be the real deal.
That's right.
So I want to roll into customer experience. So a company will come and they'll put the Solvvy platform on their computer, or they'll sign up for a subscription for the software. Uh, what's the whole experience like?
Yeah, company signs up with Solvvy, we really takes only a few hours to integrate to plug in our system into their customer support flow online, and when customers come to their websites with a problem, instead of typing in their whole question, which becomes like an email or a ticket in the customer support system, they just briefly explain their situation, and Solvvy immediately presents them with some answers that have been extracted from the company's knowledge base articles, those ones that the customer either didn't read or didn't have time to read, or read but couldn't find their answer. And so we, using artificial intelligence, machine learning, match their question with the most relevant answers. And if it answered their question, they say, yes, they answered my question, thanks, I'm done, and they can walk away. If they didn't, they can say, no, I still need to talk to an agent, and they can continue to submit their question or even chat. They can kind of choose what channel they want to interact with the company through after that.
So for the most part, the end user is not even aware of your software existing.
Right, right. Just says powered by Solvvy, that's all.
It
Otherwise, it just feels like the company is really intelligent and giving them answers to their questions right away.
Now, how about this? So we talked about it in a text format. Is there also a voice recognition technology?
There will be definitely at some point. We're not quite there yet today, but the harder part really is actually answering the question. Putting a speech interface on either end is actually not as hard as just actually answering the question. So yeah, we'll do that.
And right now, you're focused primarily on the English language.
That's right. English only for now, but we already have customers that have significant presences overseas, so we'll definitely branch out to more languages.
How many offices are you at right now?
Main office, yeah, here in the Bay Area in Palo Alto, but we do have some remote workers in Utah and Vancouver and elsewhere. So
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you look into the future, where do you see Solvvy with this vision of rolling out? Say in a five year cycle.
yeah, great question. So we really believe that at least 70% of customer service interactions can be resolved automatically or almost automatically in 5 minutes or less. And that's really our goal, is to two thirds of the time, a customer is able to get their answer, their problem resolved in less than 5 minutes. And that could involve the agent, but only a little bit, because Solvvy could kind of present the whole situation and the solution to the agent, who just pushes a button and resolves the case.
I'm visiting here today with Justin Betteridge. He's a co-founder of Solvvy, and we've been talking about the platform of Solvvy and the artificial intelligence and machine learning that is applying into the customer service experience. And Justin, I need to take another break,
Sure.
and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. I'm visiting here today with Justin Betteridge. He is the co-founder of Solvvy. And Justin, in the previous segments, we talked about, your background and getting a degree in computer science, combining with
Mhm,
linguistics, and then going to Carnegie Mellon, accepted to the PhD program, and
mhm,
then stepping out to start the company and Solvvy, and with one of the associates that you met through school. Um, I wanna jump back into the going from concept, solely as a business concept, to actual application of
mhm,
how you went about this.
mhm. Yeah, so as you know, things don't always run, the way you plan them to when you start out. Actually, we didn't start out in the customer service space. We started out with just general question answering technology, and we were experimenting with the consumer app, and at that time, of course, Google is the predominant search engine, and you could ask a question to Google, but the longer, more complex questions, you don't always get the answer right away that you're looking for. And so that's what we built. We built an app to give you the answers right away. Um, but it kinda got some good traction, but not like we wanted, and also Google's getting better and better at kind of giving you the direct answer to your questions, and there was also, copyright issues with taking from websites, their answers and displaying those. So, our investors were really supportive and really worked with us, Pear Ventures, our early, seed stage investor, and they encouraged us to consider the enterprise space, and, we were introduced to an advisor, Mahesh Ram, who's actually our CEO now. We worked with him and really he's very experienced in the enterprise space. And uh, he said, "Oh my gosh, you have question answering technology. There's so many things we could do to make the commerce experience better for everybody." And so we brought him on as our CEO and then launched in our current direction. So it was typical to startups. There was a pivot there, but eventually found a space that we really enjoy and feel like we have the ability to solve.
So when you ventured out, how long before you from launch to that first customer?
We spent kind of a year on the first, incarnation of the consumer app, and then another year kind of developing the prototype of the new direction. So it was, roughly 2 years from very beginning to actually launching with our first customer.
And so where you're at now, are you primarily selling the one product, or have you branched out? What is the as a company, as Solvvy continues to evolve and get better at the machine learning and artificial intelligence, where do you envision the company going?
Right now, we've been selling our one main product, which allows self-service resolutions, as I explained earlier, to incoming customer support requests. But a lot of the times, our customers also really want to know how they can improve and update their knowledge base articles that allow for self-service, even from people that just come from a search engine to get their answers to their questions. And so, because companies are always updating their products and coming out with new products, retiring old products, so the knowledge base is continually evolving. And so we are right now working on, we'll soon launch a new product that will help companies see where their knowledge base is lacking, where they can spend more time to kind of update their content.
Hear a lot about artificial intelligence, machine learning, data,
Deep learning, yeah.
deep learning, and so in the scheme of things, do you see Solvvy getting to the place where one computer just talks to the other and it takes the human interaction out entirely, or
I think Solvay's more going to be focused on computer to human interaction. So making humans' lives better by automating those mundane requests and just kind of making everything more convenient and faster and easier for all of us, so we can focus on the things we really want to spend time on, not waiting on the phone for a customer agent to get back to you.
so this really lays over so the Solvvy's software is put onto the customer database then.
Right, right. It's on their website or eventually when you call up a company, hopefully Solly will, interact with you and get you the answer to your question.
So what are some of the greatest challenges that you faced as you're rolling Solvvy out as a company?
Well, defining the vision, and really kind of building something that people really love, that really works, that really makes a difference. I mean, artificial intelligence is hard. It's really hard to make it work well. It's one thing to do research. It's another thing to build a product that actually works in the wild and helps people make their lives better. So it's always a challenge defining that product, iterating on it, and figuring out what people really need and want.
So we talked about the challenges, and the greatest success so far has been.
To hear about Solvvy getting recognition and being mentioned to people and casually in conversations with their friends. Oh, I heard about Solvvy, and it's been exciting to kind of get our name out there and establish a presence.
So for students aspiring to go into artificial intelligence today or machine learning, do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, so there are actually so many different ways that you can learn about artificial intelligence now. Companies like Udacity, Udemy, Stanford, MIT, all of these, and Carnegie Mellon University schools and companies are providing courses online that you can just, in your own time. You don't even have to be enrolled. You can just watch and learn. And of course, there's a lot of mathematics and things that are required to get to that level, but you can do it on your own. You don't have to wait for a degree, or you can just go learn it and start doing it.
Would you say it's getting a little easier as technology advances, or is it getting more complex?
The technology in general,
Yeah.
um, definitely in some ways, definitely more complex. You mentioned deep learning, and it's actually one of the reasons why AI is kind of seeing more attention in recent years, is because there's been some recent advances in a technique that's been around actually for decades called neural networks. But then recently, researchers were able to see huge advancements in areas like speech and image processing using neural networks, but in more complex and deeper architectures. That's why it's called deep learning. But these models are incredibly hard to train and get right. So really, we're still kind of in the infancy, not in the infancy, but we're still learning how to use and train these models. But they're very powerful.
How do you find programmers?
Um, a lot of times it's who you know. Also, just being out, we go to meetups, we host meetups, we go to universities to recruit. There are lots of traditional ways. Try to contact people on the LinkedIn Angel list. Lots of different ways.
And for the listeners, if a person wants more information about signing up for Solvvy services, how would they go about finding you?
Go to our website, solvvy.com, Solvvy, and just request a demo. And we'll get in touch.
That's two V's, Solvvy.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Solvvy.com.
like we're savvy at solving problems. That's kind of where the name came from.
Justin, thanks for being on today's show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I've been visiting here today with Justin Betteridge. He's a co-founder of Solvvy, and we'll be right back after this.